Hello, Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Blue Exorcist, chapter 130. When we last left our heroes, shit went down. The completed clone had risen from the rubble of the plane, and Lewin and Osceola and Lucy, kind of realizing what this meant, immediately set to work trying to kill the clone. But then the entire Illuminati showed up, along with a good chunk of the Demon Kings. And they all failed. Satan was still kind of residing in Yukio's eye, allowing Yukio to kind of resist Satan's urging to let Satan transfer into the clone. But when Satan threatened another Blue Knight, Yukio relented, and Satan now has his body. Lucifer is won, and now Satan has been requested to destroy Asya, and he seems to be doing that. So yeah, everything went to shit last time, and it's kind of the end of the world. So let's jump right on into chapter 130 of One Cloth Shine, which I think, as I recall, was also the chapter title of 128. Yeah, don't know what that's about. I'm not quite sure if it's the same word in Japanese. Either way, interesting to note. Anyway, we open with Shiemi, who we have not seen since like midway through SSC, I'm pretty sure. And she suddenly feels something. And she kind of looks around this whole, very verdant garden she's in. And like I kind of said in my previous few One Piece video, my last One Piece video, I can't really zoom in right now, so I kind of got to squint. I think that's the guy who kind of brought her to the Grigori Society, whose name I can't remember. So you noticed? Huh? Satan has taken physical form. Oh no, this is Shemihaza, I think, right? And that kind of, gets Shiemi's attention. So you must hurry. Hurry? But I've barely... And she tells her, calm down. 1 week in here is 10 minutes out there. Now I will introduce your final challenge. Okay, so we see that Shiemi has kind of been in, like, super training mode. If what she's being told is true, then she's probably spent several weeks in here. Given, how long the fight with the Rin Yukio fight was, along with how long Rin was unconscious for, and then just the time they kind of spent, calming down after the crash. It's probably been the better part of a day since she ran into Rin in his, like, break from Flashback Land. So she's been training for a while is what I'm getting at. And Shiemi kind of, like, straightens up, and she's told, this tree is a crystallization of Shemihaza, right? Oh, no, that's Shiemi's line, I think. This tree is a crystallization of Shemihaza, right? Yes. I must tell you why Shemihaza crystallized like this. Long ago, the land was made barren and inhospitable to life by the King of Earth. To quell his anger, Shemihaza sacrificed her life and crystallized. But I thought Shemihaza has been kind of alive this whole time. Like, hasn't she been one of the Grigori this whole time? And wasn't she one of the ones who, struck one of the final blows against Lucifer, back near the end of the Blue Knight? Or am I just grossly misremembering something vitally important? Either way, Shiemi reacts, the King of Earth? And then, hold on, here's an interesting little thing. Because we see the next line is, look there, do you see the large minerals among the crystal's roots? And I think I am misinterpreting something. I thought that the woman who I think is Shemihaza was walking towards Shiemi, and that Shiemi was sitting down. But I think they're both standing, and so the shorter one is Shemihaza, and so I thought it was Shiemi talking there, but I was wrong, I think. Anyway, look there. Do you see the large minerals among the crystal's roots? Those are the sealed crystallizations of Amaimon, King of Earth. And Shiemi kind of reacts, because, she's seen Amaimon before, but doesn't Amaimon have a human body? He pretends to be a student at True Cross Academy. Oh, I forgot he was, like, had this whole student alter ego there. I remember she had, like, met him, but I had forgotten the whole student thing. Which I guess is what happens when you spend, the last 40-some-odd chapters not having any of the slice of life elements. Mm. Whatever. The old woman, who, again, I only think is Shiemi Haza, continues, that is merely part of Amaimon. Shiemi Haza took pity on the King of Earth, so she left him his self in exchange for him becoming her servant. So, like, there's a part of me that wants to say, this can't be Shiemi Haza, because, Shiemi Haza apparently crystallized. But maybe that this is sort of a projection of Shiemi Haza, in the same way that, like, Amaimon is a projection of Amaimon. And the crystallizations are the base form or whatever. I don't know. I feel like people who are more in tune with the lore are like, I'm just kind of wasting time. Anyway, Shiemi kind of stutters out. So then, and just then an explosion happens, something lands on the platform behind Shiemi. What? As your final challenge, excuse me, you must subjugate the King of Earth. And we see a Amaimon, and he's in the True Cross Academy uniform, so that might be the part of Amaimon that's, like, been out in the world. Or it might just be some projection or something. I'm not quite sure. And Shiemi's just kind of stunned at this. And she's told, you have the basic abilities. What you lack is confidence, which you will gain if you can overcome this challenge. And Shiemi Haza, I think, fades away. Oh no, it's been her grandmother, or like a projection of her grandmother the whole time. Okay, I feel like that maybe should have been obvious. Farewell, Shiemi. I can guide you no further. Grandma! I passed away suddenly, so I have enjoyed the last year and a half with you as your guardian spirit. Does that mean that... Is that saying that she's been kind of a ghost hovering around Shiemi for the past real-world year and a half? Or is she saying what I think she's saying, that Shiemi has spent a year and a half inside this kind of zone? But Shiemi goes to hug her. Me too! Which I think does mean that Shiemi has kind of experienced a year and a half in here. Because Shiemi must have spent the year and a half with her, which she only could have done in this sort of weird zone. Anyway, her grandma looks at her. Shiemi, I'm sure you'll be okay. And then she fades away. Which then calls into question, which I think people have been wondering for a while. Who exactly was Shiemi's grandmother? Because she knows a lot of things, and it's kind of unclear if she only learned that in death, or if she knew the whole time, knew whatever relevance Shiemi has to the Grigori, just kind of been hiding that. I don't know. A lot of kind of questions are kind of brought up by the grandma. Anyway, Shiemi kind of cries, Grandma, thank you. And she kind of wipes her tears. Well, oh no, this is Amaimon. Well, I knew it. So you're the successor, huh? Could have fooled me. Your spirit power is so meager. And Shiemi turns to him and thinks, I can't lose. And then says, are you sure about that? You should be scared of me. I can't lose. I have missed seeing Shiemi. Honestly, okay, if I have one big complaint over the 30 or so chapters I've reviewed of Blue Exorcist, is that Shiemi has done so little in that time. And I've missed her, and I wish we got to see her growth in real time. It feels like, it seems to me, just from these 10 pages, she's had this huge character growth, and it's been entirely off-screen, which I'm not a big fan of. But what can you do? It's right to see her, and you can definitely tell, just from like her body language, how much she's matured in the 18 months she's spent here. But Amaimon kind of stares her down. Oh, tough talk, huh? And then he like increases like the size of his muscles. Then bring it on! And he slams down the ground. It starts to crack. The crack's running towards Shiemi. This time, and she just stares him down. I'm gonna help everyone! And with that, we leave Shiemi and cut back to the ongoing apocalypse, back at the crash site. As everyone, we see Shima and Izumo and Bon and Konako and I think Who's that with Konako? It looks like Arthur, but that's a weird place for Arthur to be at. All kind of, fighting or defending against the encroaching demon waves, along with Rin. The thing I kind of want to point out here, though, is Shima is seen here. Like, the Illuminati are here. If Shima is fighting the demons with the Illuminati in the room, how is he gonna sell that to the Illuminati? If what I think this is kind of big evidence on Shima's been on our side the whole time, which I've never really believed. I've always been pro Shima is part of the Illuminati, and a loyal Illuminati member. But maybe it's more his loyalty to his friends overriding his main loyalty to the Illuminati. Maybe either way, we see I think that's Yukio dropping a set of bullets. I don't know enough about gun terminology. The black flame bullets he got from the Armuma Hell bullets he got from the Illuminati. And just then something kind of explodes above him, I think. The art is a little cluttered here. There's just a whole lot going on. It's one of those things I really wish I could zoom in, because there's a lot there, and I can't quite make it out. But I think another exorcist is kind of grabbed by this demon in the mouth. He calls, "Help me!" And then we cut to, I think, Lucifer. Go to high ground and administer the elixir to the commander. I think this is Homare telling some goons. Yes, sir. And Lucifer coughs. I leave the rest to you, Homare. Understood. So there's a question there, because I thought that Aegon only saved the one drop of elixir last chapter. So what are they going to give to Lucifer? I don't know. Maybe they have a secret stash somewhere. But then why would Lucifer care about the one drop? I don't know. Maybe there's something I'm missing there. Either way, we cut to fucking Dragulescu, who is just cackling. This is at last, finally, look, what a beautiful sight. And we see just the pure destruction. We see Iblis's muspels, we see the rot and decay, these giant worm monsters, what looks like a giant octopus thing. And Aegon and Iblis are kind of sitting on the shoulder of a muspel. And Aegon says, our brother Astaroth is overjoyed. They're all living it up. And Iblis just sort of rubs up on Aegon, which is a mood. Aegon is adorable. That's right, darling Aegon. It truly is an act of God. Our ardent desire is finally becoming real. I mean, an act of the devil, more like, but okay. And then Satan sort of looks around. Yes, that's it. I must whittle down the humans. And I'll start by killing the exorcists. And we see, I think he sends some sort of blast towards the exorcists. And the exorcists try to defend, but it can only kind of barely contain it. Wah! The defensive magic wall isn't strong enough. There aren't enough arias. Help us! And Konako looks around. What happened to Rin and Yukio? Are they okay? And Shima gets on to him. We're in danger too, Bond calls lightning. And Satan just laughs. Ha 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 ha. Think you can resist, eh? Well, how do you like this? And he summons this swirling cloud over where the exorcists are kind of defending themselves. And some of the minor exorcists I'll call. It's huge! Protect the Arias at all costs! And Satan just mocks them. You maggots. And he throws down the lightning, and everyone kind of guards against the light, but it stops. Huh? What happened? The lightning stopped in midair. And we see... so we see an exorcist also trying to stab through this demon. But he can't do it. Kind of reminds me of that scene in Jujutsu Kaisen where Volcano Guy is trying to punch Gojo, but the space is just infinitely long or whatever. That same kind of vibe is what I get. Space is warped, and just then, who should appear but the Troll King himself, Mephisto? Sorry to keep you waiting, all you Mephisto fans out there. And he's here on this giant clock, because of course he is. Wasn't it about time I showed up? And everyone calls, Sir Fellis, we're saved! And we see he's also rescued, I think, Lightning and Osceola, on this, like, giant teddy bear. As you can see, all hell is breaking loose here. I think that's Bond calling Lightning? And I think this is Mephisto. You have 5 minutes at most, so you'd better regroup. So I think they're kind of, like, defended for about 5 minutes and then kind of heal up. And Lightning tells some random exorcists, I think this is Yukio and maybe Rin as well are also on this thing. Again, until I get my laptop fixed, I'm really, really bad at using Shueisha's kind of garbage manga reader, because good lord, everything is so fucking tiny. Osceola's wounded over half his body. Take him to the Vatican. Yes, sir. Take Yukio too. He's injured. I think that last one is Rin. And then the other X-Flyers run up to them. Rin, Yukio, are you alright? Rin sees them. Hey, everyone. And then Shima gets a look at Yukio. Oh no, Yukio's bleeding! Yukio tells him, I'm okay. It's just a cut from my glasses breaking. Oh, so I guess when Satan shot out of the eye, his glasses sort of shattered and are now, bleeding down his cheek. And Konako tells him, then you need first aid. But Yukio stops him. No, I have something to say first. And he walks over to Lightning. Lightning, it's my fault that Satan returned. I chose to open my eyes, so I apologize. You need some more clarification there, Yukio. You should mention the whole Blue Knight Part 2 thing Satan threatened you with. But Lightning looks at him, but I don't regret it. As long as Satan was in Gehenna, we were fighting a defensive war. We can defeat him here in Asya. Again, you should really mention that whole Blue Knight too. So let's take him down. But still, we see Yukio's, like, strong defense of his choice. And Rin's kind of stunned at, a much more confident Yukio than maybe Rin has ever seen before. As long as demons threaten us, we have no other choice. Isn't that right? And Lightning grabs him and kind of grabs him by the shoulder. Yes, that's right. You're a teacher, so no wonder you're smart. And then I think there's Lightning calling, let's get this party started, Sir Fellis. And then I think this is Mephisto talking to someone, but I'm not quite sure if he's, because I already read the line there, and I'm not quite sure, he would be saying something like this to the crowd. Because the line is, okay, defeating Satan will warp the world, so I was trying to avoid it. But I guess that's how it's gotta go. Which, again, it's not what he would really say to the exorcists who all want to kill Satan. But he calls, initiate Plan B. I've gathered exorcists and volunteer demons from across the globe to form the anti-Satan suppression force. And we see they're, like, caged, they're, like, housed in, like, refrigerators, it looks like. These members of well-known families, loners, outcasts, and other organizations are a total mishmash. But they're also famous exorcists. And we see out of them a small boy with, like, a bug army behind him. And Konako reacts, huh? Isn't that the king of insects? Shima, of course, kind of panics. Yikes, bugs? Whoa! And there's Shemi Haza, who is, again, also kind of crystallized in this like, other world. But yeah, it kind of goes what I was saying about her being a sort of projection of Shemi Haza, much like Amaimon. And everyone reacts, is the Grigori Guard going to fight? And Izumo, who, as I recall, was there when Shiemi got kind of taken by the Grigori. Shemi Haza, one of the Grigori. And Lighten kind of looks at Yukio. So, what a relief, yeah? And one more thing. And he goes to comfort Yukio, which good lord Yukio needs. We adults are to blame for Satan's return. So it definitely wasn't your fault. Excuse me. And Yukio looks at, and Lightning walks off, and Yukio kind of looks at him. Okay. And he thinks, I was taking everything upon myself again. Just like a child. And he's kind of back in that same sort of self-deprecating mindset for a second he was in during the fight with Rin. I'm so embarrassed, and then I think there's Rin cutting him off. Finally something even I can understand. In other words, and Rin, like, readies a fist. It's time to kick Satan's ass. Right? And he turns back to Yukio. Am I right, Yukio? And Yukio looks at him, on the verge of tears. Yeah! And he grabs his hand. Let's kick his ass! So, all of a sudden, this very much has, final battle vibes. We might be kind of nearing the end. If this does turn out to be the final battle with Satan, that's kind of the end of the series. Maybe. Possibly. We'll see. And Bond kind of... We see Mephisto sort of watching this and grinning. And Bond sort of, grabs their sort of brotherly fist grab. Hey, I want in on this too! Awesome! And then I think that's Shima. Or maybe Konako? I want to kick his butt too, if it looks doable. Let's kick Satan's butt! Seems like we have a motto. Yeah, if it looks doable, I'm all for it. The kids are getting goofy. Well, it's a lot better than gloomy. I guess that's a couple of exorcists just watching them. And Mephisto, in a delightful 2-page spread, just says, we can all go kick Satan's butt together. Next chapter hits June 3rd. I love this final panel. It's just really funny. Something about kicking Satan's butt is their big catchphrase, and Mephisto joining in. I just like it. It's just cool. But yeah, this chapter is a lot of fun. Let's talk about Shiemi first. Because Shiemi has apparently been training for a year and a half, if I'm reading this right. And so we also kind of get confirmation. I think this is the first, I think it's been theorized that the Shemihaza we know is not quite the entirety of Shemihaza, but I think this might be the first straight-up confirmation of that. That Shemihaza is this giant tree. And she kind of is projecting this other, human will, I guess. Similar to Amaimon. So we also have to see Shiemi versus Amaimon, which is also teased. And yeah, if I have a problem with this, I do just kind of wish we had seen some of this. There's this whole big farewell between Shiemi and her grandmother, which mostly works because we know the bond that Shiemi had with her grandmother in life. But I do wish we had actually seen them together, before we get this whole goodbye. It's kind of I don't want to because I don't want to bring it up too much with the final Fujimoto scene from SSC, just because no scene looks good in comparison to that one. But I do kind of it's not as effective as that for a lot of reasons. One of them being just that we don't have the bond, we don't have that big farewell scene, we don't have we don't really get to see them interact at all until the goodbye. That scene at the end of SSC is first just sort of Shiro and Rin interacting without really talking about the world. Whereas most of this scene is just exposition until we get that goodbye. Which works for the most part, and especially works with that great climax of Shiemi staring Amaimon down. You should be scared of me. That's just cool. But yeah, it's the goodbye doesn't work as well as it maybe could have. And Shiemi says she'll help everyone, and I hope she gets to, because good lord, let her actually do something. She's been gone since what? I don't remember when. She first. It was the mid SSC break is when she left, right? God, I need to go back and reread from Beyond the Snow up, just as a refresher one of these days. Anyway, where was I? So back in the real world, shit is not going well. Satan is very much breaking through the meager defenses the Exorcists have. And we really just see the intense, just the sheer numbers of Satan's army we see on that 2-page spread with Iblis and Agin. They're kind of fucked, or they would be before the King of Time himself, Mephisto Felas, appears. My king, my man. To give them a bit of a reprieve, 5 minutes to sort of recoup and ready for the next phase of the battle, which gives us a nice Yukio moment as he sort of apologizes. He's back to blaming himself, which is easy to do in this situation, given that he very much did sort of you know, look at Satan and grant give Satan his new body. But also, it was the right choice. It was better than, you know, when he says as long as Satan was in Gehenna, we were fighting a defensive war, that also is kind of referring to the fact they couldn't really stop Satan. If he's Blue Knighting again, they can't really stop him. So giving him a body means he's now kind of mortal. Maybe. I mean, it's possible they could kill him and he just kind of goes back to Gehenna, perhaps? Maybe? We'll have to kind of wait and see. Anyway, there's also this bit here, on the bottom of page 25? Yeah, 25. That I kind of called attention to earlier. Mephisto was trying to avoid defeating Satan, but I guess that's how it's gotta go, is what he says. So I'm curious, what was Mephisto's perfect endgame? Like, what sequence of events gives Mephisto everything that he wants? Excuse me. Because he claimed to Satan at the end of SSC that he was going to help build a body for him. So was his goal to give Satan a body through a different route, and then when he made the request that Satan had promised, it would be different in some substantive way to give us a fighting chance against or to somehow take Satan off the board. I don't know. There's a lot to, like, when I said earlier that the series kind of ramping up to its final battle, I don't mean it's ending like in the near future. I mean, like, it's there's still a lot of story left to tell. In the same way I talk about Fire Force ending soon, even though it has a lot of story left to tell. I mean, we're like beginning of final arc kind of vibes. And there's still a lot here. There's still a lot to dive into, Mephisto being one of the big things. What exactly is his end goal? And we just kind of don't know. But he does bring in some troops to help. No one we've seen before, I think. I don't even think we've seen the King of Insects before. But apparently, they, much like Mephisto, have some reason to kind of go against Lucifer and Satan. Amaimon, of course, is kind of busy fighting Shiemi. But Shiemi Haza is also here, which, given what Shiemi's up to, I imagine that will somehow tie into Shiemi arriving on the battlefield. Crack theory I just had. After Shiemi kind of beats Amaimon and gets all of her power or whatever, she kind of swaps places with Shiemi Haza. That's going to be my theory. And become the new Shiemi Haza. Maybe. We'll see. That's just a crazy crack theory I pulled out of my ass in the past 5 seconds. But either way, after that, it's time for everyone to sort of get ready for the final battle. One last little goof moment with the gang. And then Mephisto raises the battle cry. And we have over a month until the battle really commences. So yeah, super fun chapter. Cannot wait to see where this all goes. A whole lot to look forward to, and I can't wait to see what happens next. So I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe. You know, do whatever makes you happy, you know? And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!